Hello, YouTube. This is BUB'S Comics coming at you with the No Faces Comic Chat. And I got to say, hello, Mr. Gretzky9966, since he's been waiting for 35 minutes for this show to start. Bless his heart. So glad you could make it. And thanks for being such a loyal watcher of the chat. We appreciate that. And I also want to thank, of course, DS Comics for being with us. Say hello, DS.
Hello, DS. And it's good to be here, as always.
And also, I'd like to say thank you and hello to Roger for joining us. Say hello.
Greetings, everyone. Great to be here again after missing last week. It was almost like there was like a No Faces chat hole in my soul that was not filled.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sorry, Roger. We'll make sure we fill that chat hole on a regular basis.
That took about 20 seconds to get in the gutter this time, Bob. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, that's 20 seconds later than usual, but yeah.
Well, there's a delay on StreamYard.
Oh, man.
With us in the chat already, we got Area 51 Mike saying hello from the great up north. We got Man Cave Comics. Boy, he had a nice bronze wall he put up. Looking forward to his silver wall soon. I think he said he was going to do. Got Bad Dad 320. He was taking pictures of his frozen trees outside. He posted a short video of that. We appreciate that. Good stuff going on in the community right now. Lots of great channel content going on. Area 51 Mike says, hey, who you calling a chat hole? Well, I tell you, if the frozen shoe fits, we know it's cold up there. Anything you got to do to keep warm, we understand. And tonight we are, since I'm not even going to ask you guys, I already know DS is going to fuss because there was no alliteration, even though he used to hate alliteration. We won't get into all the ways he's changed over the last year. But we'll say we are. Roger, you want to say who we are tonight? Do you remember?
Yes, we are the genuine replicas. I love oxymorons.
Good, because we got three of them in the chat tonight.
Yeah, I think I prefer the oxymoron to the alliteration. I'm kind of over the alliterations.
Oh, wow. Changing on us again. I tell you, as the wind blows, DS, as the wind blows. And we got Comic Books NYC in the house. It's hard to keep up with all the hobbies, cavies, and yavies in the community these days. But whatever the first letter of your avi is, we're welcome to have you here. And let's so yes, well, the oxymoron, thought I'd throw that in. Actually, that's the condensed version of a longer phrase that's been around in my family for a long time, which is the genuine, authentic replica. But it didn't fit in the thumbnail. So we took out authentic and we just went with the genuine replicas. So glad to have you all. Tonight, we're going to be discussing sets. It's SETS for all of you who are, well, you're all 18 and over, so it doesn't matter what you think I said. So we're going to be talking about sets. And it's my understanding that this topic was actually inspired by another chat that had happened, I guess now probably a week ago. Oh, and by the way, I want to thank you all for all your thoughts and prayers going out to DS last week. His medical condition. DS, did you hear any more about that as it was buzzing around the community?
Well, I got messages from several people on Instagram wishing me the best, hoping it was okay, worried about me. And then in the Golden Guys show, in their chat, they had a couple people that were, how's DS? What's the word on him? So, yeah, I saw your update on my status, and apparently, people bought it. So I had no idea. I was doing fine, just hanging out with family. I didn't know I was laid up in the hospital with some issues. A
rare disorder, shall we say?
Yeah,
a very rare disorder for those of us of the male persuasion.
Right.
It was actually. Roger, do you remember what he was in the hospital, allegedly in the hospital for?
I do not remember. It has something to do with an interior reproductive organ issue. But other than that, I do not remember exactly what it was about.
Yeah, and a couple people thought the autocorrect got you, and that you were typing something else, and it autocorrected to that. So even with that in there, they still thought there was something wrong with me.
There were several people too. There were a few live chat. So basically, for those of you who missed it, I had started a rumor last week that the reason that we missed the show was because DS was getting his cervix checked at the hospital in an emergency. But apparently, there's several people out there that are unaware that a cervix is a female-only body part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as you can see from a couple of people in the chat, I'm notorious for, my pants issue. So perhaps,
yeah, it did have a logical segue to possibilities if you didn't know about that particular female part, right? So it had some credence, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, I thank you all for participating in that. We definitely had a couple of people. I was going around the live chats later that night and sending prayer requests for poor DS and his cervix. And several people were like, "Oh man, cervix, that can be rough." I get no idea that they're. I thought I was kind of, because I don't want people to have any false prayer requests out there. So I thought I was choosing something that there's no way anyone's gonna know anything but that this is a joke, right? Like, but there you go.
Okay. This is a good one. Mike says, "I hear the GoFundMe page is at $2."
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely use that to offset.
DS will take it. I guarantee you. He'll take it.
That's like 5 trips around the Walmart parking lot right there.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's a pair of senior pants at the Goodwill on Wednesdays.
Nice.
So,
All right, guys. I love it.
Yeah. So this what's happening here, Bub? What happened is Big Will and Hialeah Comic Bro had one of those afternoon live stream chats, and they were talking about all the different ways that you can collect just comic books, not other things, right? And all the different sets and different array of things that you could use to, focus your collection. So that's how this came about. And they said, hey, why don't you go and tell Bub at the No Faces chat, and you guys, kind of take this and run with it. So that's why I talked to you about it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, good deal. Well, I'm totally down for this topic. I think we've covered this topic in other ways, but it's been a few months, and we do a show every week, except for when medical emergency strikes. Yeah. So, we cover some topics, often, but we tend to try to bring something new to the table. So what we got going on today is I'm just going to go ahead and start off with asking you guys questions. Okay. So I came up with 3 questions, but I can only remember 2 of them. So if I remember the third, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So the first question is there a set that you have already completed? So a set that you were after that you've already completed. DS, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was I'll just give a quick history of my view on this, because I've talked about this before, collecting runs versus collecting sets. It's a totally different thing. And, a lot of collectors, we have that OCD thing, that completist attitude and mentality, and we like to collect entire runs. And what I did at some point was I decided to stop going after runs and not let the titles or the companies dictate what I should own. But I set my own sets. I decided what the run was going to be for me, and I called it a set. And, it can be whatever you define it as. And if, for instance, there's a couple sets that I completed, and one of them would be the black Spider-Man's black costume set. So yeah, that's a complete set. It's sort of like a run, but they're out across different titles. I had an ASM 52. Marvel Team Up 141, the Spectacular Spider-Man 90, although I did not have that one in a 9.8, but all the rest were. I had Secret Wars 8, which is the first in continuity, and then I collected all of the previews. There were like 7 or 8 preview magazines that all predated ASM 252, and so that was my first appearance of the Black Costumes set. All the previews in the magazines, and then all the comic book first appearances on the Secret Wars 8 as first in continuity. And that was a set for me. It was very satisfying, and it wasn't a run. I didn't have to collect, 500 books, and I just picked out sort of the keys, and I lumped in the previews, and that was like, as a group, as a set, that constituted the blossoming of the black suit into the culture. And that was a very satisfying set to complete. There are some other, runs that I've completed, but I consider them sets. Like there was a pre-code horror title called The Thing put out by Charlton in the 50s, and it had 17 issues, and I collected all 17. Now, to me, that was a set. Technically it was a run, but it was only 17 issues long. But, for me, I just consider that to be a set, and I wanted the whole Charlton. But the set wasn't just that run. It was also the hardcover reprints of all those, because I had all the issues of the comics in slabs, and then I had the 2-volume collected works of all those issues in exact reprinted form so that I could read and enjoy those. And that was a very satisfying set to put together. But for me, at this point, a lot of the sets, once I complete a set, it's like the challenge of completing the set is what drives me, and the excitement and pleasure I get out of putting the set together. And then a lot of times afterwards, I'll move on to a new endeavor, and I'll sell off the set and move on to something new. And that's what I did with the black suit stuff. That's what I did with the Charlton Thing run also. So it's a lot more satisfying for me to go after smaller sets of important books the way I define them, because you can achieve those goals, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment and advancement in the hobby, as opposed to, I want an ASM run of 1 to 700. You're never going to complete that. Nobody's ever going to complete that. There's exceptions to every rule, but the rule is nobody's ever going to complete that run. It's not going to happen. You're going to be working your entire life to complete that run, and it's not going to happen. But if you just work on sets, like you want all the key first appearances in the Silver Age ASM, that's attainable. Now, some of those are going to be hard, they're expensive, whatever, but that's much more attainable. Sets are it's more of a way to gain progress and satisfaction for me out of the hobby than going after runs. And what happens in runs is you find yourself begrudgingly and unhappily digging through long boxes to pick out fillers to fill out your run, and spending $1.50 or whatever on books that you don't want, but you need them. You've now become a slave to the run that's been defined by Marvel or DC or whoever. Define your own runs and call them sets, and it can be across different titles. Schoenberg robot covers, that's a set. I'm working on that set right now. There's a couple big ones I'm missing, but I'm getting there. That's just a set for me. I like robot covers like Alex Schoenberg. So, however you want to define the set, do it in a way that's, the books are all in that set that you like, and you don't have to go spending 20 years trying to pick out fillers to fill out a run of 900 books or whatever. So that's just my thoughts on runs versus sets.
I like that. And I agree. And I've had a few myself. Roger, do you have any sets that you have completed also? I like that verse. And also, by the way, since DS had mentioned his Spider-Man run, his Black Suit Spider-Man run, you don't own that set anymore, right? Because like you said, you kind of, once you completed it, you were over it, right?
Well, that was a sort of a double whammy, because I stopped collecting Copper Age stuff and superhero stuff for the most part, and I completed the set, so I sold it off. It wasn't important to me to hold on to that set. So yeah, I sold all of them. And another set I'm working on right now, I'm almost complete with it, is a Warlock first appearance set, which for me is the true first appearance cameo type books. There's a lot of Warlock stuff out there, but Fantastic Four 67, Thor 165, and Marvel Premiere 1. That 3-book set for me is a Warlock set. Now, my purpose in putting that together is putting together a nice, solid 3-book set to sell to a collector who's looking to complete that, the 3 big keys in that set. So I'm putting that set together simply to flip it, but it's really fun going after books that are in similar grades and getting them together, getting them graded, putting sets together. And I'm going to have 2 complete sets of those 3-book sets, and then I'm going to sell them, and that's going to be a very satisfying little adventure for me from beginning to end. And it's part of what I enjoy in the hobby. You know, it's not just, oh, I'm flipping books. To me, you know, if you're buying them, that's what it looks like. You're buying from a flipper dealer or whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's part of the fun of the hobby is putting together sets of other books. And every time I get a raw one, I read it and I enjoy it. And then, you know, I do the Warlock set here for myself, and then I put it together and I sell it, and I'll move on to other stuff. So yeah, I don't usually keep most of the sets. The Golden Age ones, some of the bigger ones I haven't completed yet, so I don't know if I'm going to keep them. But the ones I've completed so far, for the most part, I have not kept, and I've just moved on. I try to keep things fresh, and it's always a new challenge over the horizon.
Yep, I like that, and I like that it's that refresh of the collection, because I think I hate when I feel like my collection's getting stale, and it's just kind of all looks the same. Or sometimes you're only collecting run fillers, and that gets kind of tedious, like you said. You know, digging through long boxes for a book you don't even really want, but you just feel like you got to complete that run. Roger, have you got any sets that you have completed? I know that you have some sets you've completed. So what are some of the ones you've finished?
Yeah, and this topic, it can go in so many different ways, because when you're talking about sets, runs, keys, characters, titles, that's one thing, but there are so many more obscure ways to collect comics, right? And like DS was talking about Schomburg robot covers. We have like JD, who collects Golden Age elephant covers. And I think DS is also doing the shark covers, right? And
you know, I am doing shark covers, but that's sort of been bumped down the priority list. But I'm re-examining, because I started to put together my spreadsheet of Golden Age shark covers, and it went on page 3.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like, all right, this is not what I'm thinking about for sets. This is not a set now. This is just a gigantic, enormous, you know, unaccomplishable task of a giant run. So I pared it down, and it's a much smaller, because a lot of those are shark covers, but in and of themselves, they're not big books that I really want, but they would be a shark cover from the Golden Age. So I pared it down to specifically big books that I really want that have sharks on them. But right now I'm on a robot cover kick, so, you know, go figure. And I'm also on a Bronze Age Bernie Wrightson set. I'm working on my Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's not a run. I mean, that covers all sorts of different titles.
Yep.
And, you know, I try to adapt and be flexible. I even picked up a magazine. I never collect magazines because they don't fit in damn boxes. So, yeah. I even picked up one of those. I'm working my way on a Wrightson list, and then I'm sort of expanding it as I go to Bronze Age horror generally, and I'm adding some Neil Adams. I just picked up a Nick Cardy book today I posted on my Instagram. So, yeah, that's another. The Bernie Wrightson set's another one. But right now I'm on robot covers for Golden Age as opposed to shark covers, and then for Golden Age, whatever else comes up that's a big book that I like, I'll get. But that's how that works.
Poor Roger was trying to tell us before DS jumped all the way back in
that's quite
with all his run collecting. Poor Roger was trying to tell us about he enjoys his sets going both ways. So go ahead, Roger, tell us.
Well, I was it's quite all right, because I like DS's perspective, so he's never he's never boring or anything like that. But I agree, you know, like I have probably about 30 some sets that I have completed, and about another 6 or 7 I'm in progress, right? So I really like the finite sets, right? The ones that have a definite beginning and a definite end, and like DS says, you put your own parameters for those, right? Like this one here is a part of the So Much Fun ink set. There were only 12 of them. Okay, they were direct distributed by polybags. There are only 12, and some of them are very tough to find because, you know, G.I. Joe collectors and X-Men collectors covet them because they are part of the run, right? If you like alternate printings, distribution variants, things like that, right? But yeah, I have completed quite a few sets, including this one here, these are mini comics that were actually part of a blister pack with a cassette tape in them. Okay, so Gretzky, this is for you. I know you're a big Archie guy, and there are, I believe, 12 of these as well. Or no, actually, there's six. There's six men. There's Man of Steel. There's Legend of Batman, and then there's the Archie ones. So yeah, there are, I believe, 12 of them. Okay, and that's, to me, those are it's satisfying because the goal is attainable. Like DS was saying, yeah, I'd love to have a Spider-Man 1 through 700, but that's not going to happen because I'm a cheapskate, right? So that's just not a reality, you know. But there are other things that I like Go-Go Check. You know, this is a fog Go-Go Check, but you know, that era in the 60s that DC had. And I think Big Will was talking about that in his live stream, that's a very kind of a different, because it goes across many titles and many years. So you have a good cross section of issues and storylines and art that you would experience if you collected that set. But I think there's like over 300 of them. So that's too big for me, you know. And of course I have, you know, as everybody knows by now, probably, I have my 30-cent variant set, which is, let me just grab one here just as a visual, this is, you know, one of my pride and joys. Took me many years to obtain it. 186 issues plus 2 or 3 variants inside that set that I have completed, and on the cheap. So again, I'm very glad to have done that. But again, it has a finite number, which in this case, it's dictated by the months that the test market was going on, which was only 5 months. But,
and we're going to press and slab that Eternals, right?
Excuse me?
We're going to press that Eternals and get it slabbed, right? That was the plan?
No, we don't. I do not slab. I unslab. I do not encapsulate my friends, okay? I do not imprison them. I do not entomb them.
Right? DS is on a clock violation too. He was on mute for 10 minutes.
Oh man. Yeah, there are some expensive ones in that set. Some are very rare. The Westerns are extremely rare. Some have less than 15 extant copies. But again, it's something that if you're patient, if you have connections, if you network, and if you are very dedicated and focused, it can happen. But again, it's something that you have to determine for yourself how it is that you want to accomplish this set, right? Because it's how you define it. So yeah, I love completing sets, and when I say sets, anything, it could be anything, right? I mean, like Dub, you and I and DS, we like the 3D comics, you know, with the glasses, you know, that kind of swag that comes with it, just because it's so different, it's so out there, and there's not that many of them really, maybe probably less than 100 in total. So you know, that's one of those cool things that you just don't see that often, but when you do see them, you know, it's a sense of accomplishment. Say, hey, I got another 3D comic, you know. So, you know, I'm not going to go through all the sets I've completed, but, you know, there's many ways of collecting. Some people like to collect, you know, for example, dinosaur covers, you know. So that's fine and dandy. You know, I think that's a great little niche, you know, set to put together. You know, you're talking about War Tales, you're talking, you know, from the DC, you're talking about Dell Comics and some of their titles. You're talking about Turok from, you know, and Gold Key, things like that. So, you know, it gives you a cross section of titles and of publishers. So again, I have probably 20 examples here just off the top of my head. I picked up in a few minutes before the chat of sets that you could put together. So, but I'm not gonna monopolize the whole chat, but this is the kind of things that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I've got a couple more cool sets if you guys want to hear about some other sets I worked on.
Sure.
Yeah. First, before we do that, we got to acknowledge the chat, you guys. We got 26 people watching right now, and we've got some major all-stars in the house, because every person in the chat is a major all-star. If you're here, we love you. Roger, you want to go ahead and shout them out? You like to do
that? Absolutely. We I think we left off somewhere around Man Cave. Russ got in here. Russ just put a pretty good he's putting his older videos on Instagram. He's really funny guy, Russ. Just one of my favorite guys in the community. Let's see who else. Obviously from Heroes to Icons, Jason. again, another guy is always supporting all of us in our videos and our chats. Knights of Old Mike, we've out on here before. Huge timely collector. He's also a huge video game collector. We've been on a chat for that, a live stream for that as well. Comic collector Tim, again, big DC guy, Green Lantern guy, big guy for manga, and of course Archie's as well. And we have just a Rican here. ¿Cómo estamos, mi amigo Boricua? Again, he does that great community show where he shouts out the channels less than 1,000. He does the Coast to Coast with Jeffrey Comic Con. Just a great community member here. Let's see who else. Of course, Comics with Bueller. What doesn't Bueller do? I mean, you name it, right? He does those keys videos. He does the coffee comments and comments. He does the chat with Sam, which he's hilarious because he's in character. So, of course, everybody knows and loves Bueller, no doubt about that. We got Kavi in here, which we said it before. We got Man Cave. Let's go. Oh, my buddy Comic Head 84. Kenny is in here. He just did some great sketches on Instagram. If you haven't checked out his Instagram chats, you got to see those things. It's real.
He needs to drop another slab. I feel like I haven't seen Kenny drop something in months.
Yeah, man. I think he exercised the poltergeist because it just hasn't happened lately.
He dropped a rainbow book on me the other night. I'm still hurting from that.
You mean there's no? What do you mean, DS? You couldn't find a horror Halloween themed rainbow book? Man, I thought your collection was solid.
We got Ben
no, I've been looking at rainbow covers in preparation for next year.
Oh boy.
So I'll pick up a cheap Power Pack 1 or something.
Yeah, there's like a whole 190 something has a rainbow on it. Ben Compton's in the chat, another guy who's he doesn't make videos, but he's so supportive of all our channels. Great community member. Who Dat's in here? The man for the great man from Louisiana down there from New Orleans. And we got Broke Cuz of Comics, one of the best names, bar none. Him and Werewolf by Lunchtime. If we took a poll, I think those two would be in the top 5 of names and a great supporter of all of us. So that is the chat caught up as to now.
All right. Thank you so much. And of course, we got DS in the chat too.
Well, I don't talk about those guys. DS, Metarog, and Bub, those guys, take them or leave them,
Well, my the sets that I have that I've been working on, I won't bore you guys with them because it more leads into my next question. Because I'm really bad about starting sets and ending sets or not finishing them. Ending them, but not finishing them. So that's going to be you guys can already start thinking about that because that's going to be my next question to you guys. Because for me, I'm trying to think of a set that I finished and I don't know, I can't remember. I got about 5 comics shy of every appearance of Werewolf by Night. And they weren't even like big books. They were like dollar books. And I gave up on it and sold some of the little, cameo type appearances away. So I don't even know where I would be if I tried to pick that set up again. I'm working on a few sets, but then I was working on the Zeros. Remember like the DC 0 hour set? And I was working on all those plus tie-ins. And I got maybe 7 or 8 books shy of that. And I quit. So I don't collect as many sets as I quit collecting as many sets. And I'm trying to think of a set that I've actually finished, and I can't think of one. And I tell you, one of the reasons that I have such a hard time with it is because when I get to the point that I'm going to almost finish the set, I start looking at my whole collection, right? Because I start collecting a bunch of books, obviously, to do that. And I start looking at my whole collection, and one of 2 things happen. Either that set, as we call it, because it can be anything. It can be like an artist set, like DS had mentioned. It could be something of a variant or a price variant set, like Roger's talking about. And I think that for me, because I have my whole collection alphabetized and in a filing cabinet, when I look at it, it's all scattered. Like I don't take those sets and then put them in their own bin, or I don't take those sets and then wrap them up together. I had the whole story of Weapon H, and that I did complete, and then I think I sold some of them off because it was too convoluted. It was in 3 different titles. There were different places in my collection, And I don't know, people call it OCD or whatever. I don't start scratching my head and, tapping my foot, but it did bother me, and I didn't like it. So I ended up getting rid of them. And then I start kind of transitioning to runs. I was picking up all the Jim Balent covers. So then I'll do that. So I was going to pick up all the Jim Balent covers of Catwoman, right? Catwoman Volume 2. And what ended up happening is that I found out while collecting that there's only like 96 or something issues in that run. And Jim Balent did everything up to like 83.
Oof.
So really, are you not going to collect the last 10 of that book? I mean, come on.
Yep.
Of course you're going to. So instead of trying to remember where that number was and where the cutoff was, I just picked it up. If I saw there's a Catwoman book I thought I didn't have, I just get it. Similarly, I was working on Sensational She-Hulk, just the burn issues of Sensational She-Hulk.
Right.
And then that became, you know what? It's more than half that run is done by John Byrne. So why not just collect the whole run, right?
That's what I did.
The ones that aren't, there's like an Adam Hughes cover in there, and there's a couple of Milestone covers in there. So I just ended up, trying to get the whole run. So stuff like that happens, and then, it just becomes. So anyway, I'm a run quitter, or I'm a run completer, but I am a set quitter.
Set quitter.
You're more like a set expander and then a run quitter.
Yeah.
You don't
I get all the way to the end, and then I just stop. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I might as well just get the whole run of this, the whole run of that.
Well, there's a Golden Age, a pre-code horror title called Spook. And sometimes says Spook, Suspense, and Mystery, and sometimes it just says Spook. Whatever. It's one of those star publications of L.B. Cole from the 50s.
Yep.
And the Spook title starts at issue number 22, and it runs through issue 30. So there's 9 total issues. L.B. Cole did the cover for the first 8 issues, and then the last issue, Jay Disbrow did the cover. So when I was working on that run, or that set, which I finally gave up, I did exactly what you're saying. Well, why wouldn't you just do that, Bub? Like, I was collecting 22 through 29, and I was going to leave 30 out, just one last issue in that run, and I was going to leave it out because I wasn't collecting the Spook run. I was collecting the L.B. Cole Spook set. Now, I've since given up on that because I decided there's a lot in there I don't really want. There's really just one that's like sort of a PCA trail, so I just kept that. So I moved on from that. But yeah, you don't have to. I mean, for me, you don't have to. I sort of limit the. I don't care how far the run goes. It could be 1 extra issue or 10 or 500 or whatever. But like Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing set. If you really want to be hardcore and get a Bernie Wrightson Swamp, or get a Swamp Things run or Swamp Things set, just do a Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing and just get House of Secrets 92 and then Swamp Thing 1 through 10. So
and Saga of Swamp Thing #1.
Huh?
And the Saga of Swamp Thing #1, I think.
Yeah, if you want to. I mean, but for me, my set for that would be HOS 92 and then Swamp Thing 1 through 10. And those are the Wrightson issues in the title, and I would just stop. And that would be for me the set. When I was collecting McFarlane Batman covers. That's a small set, very attainable, a very cool little set. There's only 5 Batman covers that McFarlane did. And it's a cool little set. 5 books, and it's an interesting, unique set. There's nobody out there collecting that set. I had it, and I gave it up, and I've never heard anybody else going after that 5-book set, but it's a cool little set. McFarlane ASM. Now, that's not a huge run, but for me, when I was collecting that set, I just did 298, 299, 300, 301, and 316. And that was it. That was my McFarlane's ASM set. You know why? Because I didn't like the other ones that much. Those were like the key sort of Venom issues. And you can throw in other ones if you want, but if you define your own set, like I'm not letting Marvel and Todd McFarlane determine what I need to collect. Do I really need a 303? It's kind of a lame issue. I just pick it. So I just define my own sets. Wolverine first appearance set for me when I had it was a Hulk 180, a Hulk 181, not 182. That doesn't count in my set. For me, it doesn't fit. And then there's the 4-issue limited Frank Miller Claremont Wolverine limited series from 82, those
82.
4 books.
Yeah.
And then X-Men 172 and 173, which are the continuation of that 4-book set. And then Wolverine 1 from the 88 ongoing. So that was like 9 total books. And that's my Wolverine first appearance set. That's sort of all over the place. Like most people go for the Frank Miller 1 through 4. They don't go after X-Men 172 and 173. That's the continuation of that story. And the last panel in limited 4 is the splash page on 172 or whatever it is. So
I gotta tell you, man, I have that set. Because I forgotten that I had done that. I've got the first, whatever it is. I tried to get the first 5 appearances of Wolverine too, so that worked out. So I've got, which to me, and I know everybody looks at it differently, like you'd said. So to me, it's Hulk 180, then 181, 182, and then Giant Size X-Men 1, and then X-Men, what is it, 94?
94, yep.
So that was my first 5 appearances of Wolverine, because to me, a cameo is an appearance. He was in the story. If you take out 182, then you don't know what happened to Wolverine at the end of that battle. So it's got to count to me. And then also, I also completed the set of pre-appearances, which were what I called like the advertisement appearances. And for that, I got Foom 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know nobody believes that. But
I do.
It's potential. So it's
potential.
Something, right?
It's a big coincidence. It's a huge coincidence.
Plus, it's just a cool cover.
Yeah.
By Steranko.
Hulk Steranko, yeah.
Yeah, killer cover. So I've got Foom 2, and I've got, I forget what it is. Maybe Daredevil 115 or 225 or something like that.
Thor 229. And
Thor 229.
Daredevil 115.
Daredevil 115. And there's another one.
Marvel Premiere 19.
I think it's Marvel. Yeah, Marvel Premiere 19. So I've got all 3 of those, plus the Foom 2. And I've got Hulk 179, which is the first time he's even referenced at the end of that book. At the bottom panel, it says, and an exciting new character will be debuted in the next issue. So that, to me, counts as an advertisement appearance. So even though he's not physically shown, they're writing about him, as you find out later. So to me, that's my preset of or my set of pre-appearances. So anyway, so I guess I do have a couple of sets, but I love my Wolverine set. I'd like to finish between 96 and 100. I think I'm missing 96 and 97. So
you got 95
of X-Men, huh?
You have 95?
No, maybe I don't.
Oh, okay.
I forget which ones I have.
You said 96 and you skipped 95, so I thought, well, maybe he's got 95.
Oh, I can't remember which one. I have 94. And I have to check my stuff now. I know I'm missing a couple from that little group. I know I have 99 and 100 and 94. And I don't know which other ones I'm missing.
Yeah, I have 98, 99, and 100. But you see, that's a good. You see, what you guys are talking are exactly what I think that kind of where this was going. That we can sort of set our own parameters to what we consider a set, right? And we can set our own criteria as to what, like, for example, the amalgam set, right? Which I think there were 24 issues in total. And if you want to, you can say, okay, I get the amalgam set. I'm going to get DC versus Marvel miniseries, and that completes that, little universe of books, right? And
yeah, I forgot I completed that also. Thank you, Rich.
I was pretty sure that you did, so that's why I was bringing that up. But
yeah,
I thought maybe he sold it somewhere.
No.
So let me show you some other sets that you can complete. How about landscape covers? That's kind of an obscure little set. How many there are, I don't know.
The infamous tattoos, shady
issues.
book, the shady tattoos book, right? Right, DS.
That's it.
That's right. The one that people would use to fill in their ASM 238s that didn't have the tattoos.
Right.
Yeah, I thought the tattoos insert would be a cool set. There's several books that had those, and somebody did some research and told me about them when I did that video way back.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them actually that they're not advertised on the cover, but they are in there. I have a Master Kung Fu, I think, that has it. So, That's one other set. Here's another one that these are just things I thought of. Okay, what am I thinking of here?
Black and white covers.
You got it. Black and white
Yeah.
covers. You know, that's another little niche that you can think of.
See, now that's one of those rare. That's one of those rare covers where I would. I usually go for the barcode covers, but in this case, where Spidey is also white and black, then I would want that one.
Yep.
You know, I would want that instead of the barcode.
It just fits better. Yeah.
Yeah, it just fits better.
So actually, let's play. What is Metarog thinking here? Okay, here we go. What am I thinking here?
Red and black covers.
Red covers.
Keep going.
Monochrome.
There you go. Monochrome. Could be yellow, could be green, but yeah, monochrome cover. And that's a cool thing. There's like Sergeant Furies that have it. There's a few Fantastic Four. There's a few. I'm thinking of somebody else. I can't think of it right now.
There's a good Tales to Astonish that's a monogram, like a blue monogram cover too, like 1 or 102 or something.
Right. Okay, what am I thinking here?
That's
dragon covers.
Nope. Let's see if somebody in the chat can get it before you do.
Well, it'd be like a 40-second delay, so you just want us to share away.
And you guys have got to be really bad then, really bad.
Tied up,
which is another way of putting that with bondage cover. There you go. See the girl being tied up right here.
Hey, Joey Bag of Sevens got it. Way to go, Joey.
Hey, okay. I tell you, some people are perceptive here. Some people are perceptive. Okay, what about this one here?
What is a picture frame, or what are they called?
There you go. Exactly. Picture frame covers.
Notice
that it's actually tied off here, so you can only see, obviously the right hand side is cut off, but that's assumed. But everything else is in a square here. So that's picture frame, and that a lot of people like that set.
I thought it was just going to be books that need new bags.
Well, that would be most of my collection. Go by that one.
Favorite picture frame ones are the FFs, like in the 2 whatever or something, or 120-ish range.
120s, yeah, 110s, 120s, yeah, yep. Yeah, I didn't want to get to the more obvious ones, but all right. What about this one?
Oh, Pieta.
There you go, Pieta.
Who?
Those are good ones too. I limit my sets to just Golden Age, but there's so many awesome of those throughout all of the comic eras and still till today. That's a good one.
What is it?
Pieta.
Is that an artist?
No. It comes from when Mary Jesus and his was crucified, and he was being held up by his mother in a kind of a cradle position, and that it was called Pieta because I believe it means mercy or So it's that position of being held in your arms like this, being cradled. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I love learning new things.
And if you're collecting those, this is what they say. But you can, again, define it however you want if you're collecting art. But it has to be, the person being carried has to be unconscious.
Correct.
That's why people say my Startling 49 is one of those, but she's awake and she's just being carried away. Does that count? I don't know. I mean, it's such a killer book. I would not hold it against anybody collecting that category to pick that book up as part of it. So I don't know, however you define it, but technically, yeah. So
or dead. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Dead would work too. They're limp. In other words, they're not helping in the situation here. We're getting some really good comments here. Let's see. Let's keep going. What about this? Is easy.
Photo covers.
Yeah, photo covers, or as I call them, lazy covers. You know,
hey,
you just got to snap a picture and stick it on the cover, and that's a lazy.
That is a very unique sort of one-off cover at that time, and at this point, it's collectible for that type of set, and it's an interesting sort of oddity among the Spider-Man run. But what were they thinking when they did that cover? Like, what is that?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's some guy they pulled off the street.
I mean, that's not somebody from a show or a movie or anything. That's
no. I'm telling you, something happened. They said special issue.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Right? Special issue. What's special about it is probably a fill-in. I don't remember the story or anything. And they didn't have a cover. A Deadline Doom was coming. And so I said, hey, Go get some guy, put a costume on him, take a picture of him.
And it's not even a full costume because he's just wearing jeans.
And you even get this glare here from the flash. I mean, it's terrible, absolutely awful. I mean, all right, here's one. Let's see.
Well, like Batman and Robin, the movie, some things are so bad they're good, Roger.
That covers
only DS thinks that.
All right, what's this one here?
Kirby knockoffs?
That is a Kirby. That's not a knockoff.
Oh, well then Kirby fists.
No.
Probably a Doom cover.
Nope.
Circle heads?
No, those all the ones in this era, the Fantastic Four in this era had that.
Well, I refuse to answer anymore until you tell us.
Well, I'm seeing if anybody from the chat is going to get it.
We got stretch covers.
What's that red sunburst up there?
What is that red sunburst up there?
I don't know.
That's a number. That's a number.
Anniversary, or what they call anniversary issues, but
there you go. That's it. Anniversary or centennial issues. You know.
Yeah, because they don't understand how that works.
No, they don't. Right. Anniversary has to do with year, not with a rounded centennial number. But everybody does it even DC does it and all that. So yeah, anything that has to do with
even DC does it as if normally they'd be above reproach.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because I'm showing a Marvel. I'm not saying that I'm not throwing them to the wolves or anything.
There's people that collect those anniversary border covers from Marvel in 1982. That's a cool set.
Yep.
I think Buck was doing that until he ran up against the Care Bears, and that put the kibosh on that set.
That's exactly right. I was good with it when I hit Muppet Babies. I was good with that. Once I hit Care Bears, I was like, I don't want that book in my collection. That book has no place in my collection.
Not only that, but it's the most expensive one.
Yeah,
but it's to buy a Care Bears book.
Yeah, Comic Head 84.
Not the set. I give up.
Comic Head 84 and Gretzky got it. Anniversary and Centennial. It could be either.
I'll tell you what, if I had that Care Bears book the other night against Kenny, I would have destroyed that Silver Surfer 4 if I had that Care Bears anniversary.
I don't know.
that would have been the rainbow of
one ugly cover.
Hey, Scoon's Comics in the chat. How you doing, Scoon? Great to see you here. Oh, and I also missed Discovery Bay. He has been here for
Biggie
quite
Shack's
a while.
in the house.
And Biggie Shack, of course. Okay, so what's this, guys?
Floating heads. Gravestones.
Yeah, gravestone or gravesite covers. A lot of people like those for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think you could just, even if you just did Spider-Man gravestone covers, that'd be quite a big set.
Quite a few. There's a lot of death that surrounded Peter Parker in his years.
Yeah.
All right, last one, guys, and I have more, but I'm not gonna. Oh, actually, no, two more. This is easy.
Marriage covers.
Yeah, wedding covers.
Does it count if the guy's marrying a corpse?
Sure.
Yes,
well,
Great.
Well, you can't really marry something that's not alive, I don't think.
Give it time. Everybody can marry everybody now.
I got PCH stories of people are marrying corpses left and right.
Well, maybe, but legally you can't contract with a corpse. So, okay. And then lastly here, actually, no, two more. Let's see if you guys know. Let's see if you guys know your comics.
Well, I mean, I know my comics. I don't know your comics.
Well, if you know, shall we say, very popular, very hot, very well-known comics.
I don't know. I would say it's homage covers,
Okay, that's it. Homage cover. And it's an homage to what?
Silver Surfer #1.
There you go. Somebody said waving high covers. That's a good one. That's a good one. Swipe covers.
Swipe covers, man cave.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, last one. Here we go.
Straight jacket covers.
Musical bands.
Well, that's true. This is the first full appearance of Kiss. But no, this is obvious on the cover.
Hands. I don't know.
Duck covers.
Nope.
Goose covers.
No, it's not a goose. That is a.
But if you have three and you go duck, duck, goose, does that count?
No.
Satanic covers.
Run around the room.
Nope. Nope, not
All right,
not an
what do you got?
homage, not multiple hand covers. No.
What is it? Tell us.
Okay, you guys did not see my video from a few weeks ago. Shame on all of you. Shame,
Hey, if it's
shame,
over
shame,
30 minutes, I
shame.
get a pass.
Shame, shame, shame. Notice this little diamond up here. What does that denote?
The Whitman variant covers.
There you go. That is a Whitman variant. Absolutely. A Marvel Whitman variant. And those are a finite set that you could get that came in 3-packs polybag. So
Hey, I
shame on
watched
all
that
of
video,
you.
and I commented on that video, and I'm fairly certain that on this panel, neither of you have watched any of my last 2 or 3 videos, or at least commented on them. So I'm just throwing that out there.
I have watched. I didn't watch your most recent one, but I did watch the one before that.
I was just kidding.
Okay, so anyway, you see, just in a few minutes, I picked these out, and you can see the things that you could use as.
Hey, wasn't that a Mike Piazza cover?
Hmm?
Wasn't that a Mike Piazza cover?
Piazza cover.
Oh, Piazza.
Mike Piazza was a catcher for the Dodgers in the 80s and 90s, I do believe.
For the Mets.
90s and 2000s, I don't know.
I only cared about him when he caught for the Mets.
Oh, that's right. Here's another one. I guess you can't see it from the cover, but Mark Jeweller's inserts. That's another kind of. But that set is impossible to get because
That's also
we don't know which comics had them. You know, it's just sort of hit and miss.
Reflected in the Eyes cover would be cool too for that.
That's a good one too. Yeah,
I like that.
Quite a few of those.
Is this a Larson cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Larson. Yeah, I like that. That's really neat.
Yeah, I actually put together a set of Eric Larson Venom covers at one point, just for fun. They're not very expensive, and just trying to get all 9/8. And I got quite a few of them, and then I sold them on eBay. But that was one of the better ones. And there's another one. I think it's an homage cover with Venom holding up the skull.
Yeah.
Like the next issue, where it's right around 347, 346, something like that.
Yeah, I can
I
dig
call
it
that
out.
the Hamlet cover.
I can dig it out if you want.
Yeah, Hamlet cover, exactly.
Hold on, I'll be back.
Those are real cool. Those Larson covers. There's a whole run of those that are good. You know, those will pick up over time. After, like, right now we're into like the early 90s is sort of starting to be more collectible. And once you get past like, yeah, I don't know, like mid 300s and you start getting on, there's some really good ones in the second half of the 300s that are really good.
There you go.
I like it. Yep, there it is. Well, cool. Well, all right. So the next question was, is there anything that you guys have started and completely abandoned? So something you started and gave up on for whatever reason.
Yep.
Go ahead, DS. What did you start and give up on?
Chamber of Chills. I don't have my 19 here right now, but I'm not going to pull out the other ones I have anyway. But I was going for a whole run of Chamber of Chills from the 50s, Harvey publication. They're not hard to find. That helped. And there's 26 issues. Not too bad, you know. And then I was starting to pick those up. I picked up 19 and 23, which are the two big ones, standalone Grail level sort of PCH books from that title. And then I was working on going back to the beginning and picking them all up. And I was trying to get all of them in, like, you know, mid-grade-ish type ranges. And then I gave up because I realized I didn't really like a lot of them enough to be spending money as the prices on PCH rose. And so I sold off the ones that I did have and just kept, like, the 4 that I like best. And I pared that, well, I didn't pare that down. I had my favorite 4. And I sent the last one in to get graded to CGC, the last time I let them press stuff. And it was like a 6.0. It was Chamber of Chills 18, the barbershop cover. If anyone wants to look it up, they can. But I had like a 6.0 raw copy of that I sent to them for cleaning and pressing and grading. And during the cleaning and pressing, and during the pressing process, they completely detached and split that cover completely off the book. So I had sent back 3 pieces of it. And I had a back cover, I had a front cover, and I had the interior. And that soured me on it, and I never got another 18 yet. But I've got, you know, 19, 23, and 24. But I gave up that whole set. It was just too many books, and it was too much money, and it was too many books that I didn't really like that much. So I gave that set up. And that was that's probably tied with The Thing as my favorite PCH title to read. the material in the Chamber of Chills is awesome stuff. And I have the whole collected series and reprints that I read. So that was a tough one to give up because I really love that set on that run. But I gave that up. That was the biggest one I gave up.
What about you, Roger?
The 35-cent variant set.
You gave up on it?
Yeah, I gave up on it many years ago. With
the Star Wars?
Well, I had a couple of. I think I had the 2 and the 4, but the 1 was just ridiculously priced. Even when I started collecting, which was 16, 17 years ago, and back then it was just a couple $100, and it was the most available of the 35-cent variants because it was brought out in Overstreet a long time ago, so we knew about it. And but the problem with the 35-cent variants is not the Star Wars. That's a money issue. But the lower print runs on the Westerns and a few of the reprint titles are beyond brutal. Like the Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones are ghosts. There's only like less than 5 of those known in existence. So, I thought that would be a little bit too harsh, and I wanted it to be, plausible at least for me to complete the set within my lifetime. So I gave up on it, probably 5 years ago. But I have about a dozen of them or so that I kept anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense though. But I mean, in life generally, you have to set realistic goals for yourself, and if you pare back your goals to make them realistic from being idealistic, then it's sort of it's healthier mentally and spiritually to do that. So, you got to set goals that you're able to accomplish, and you can still have, unlimited fun and enjoyment out of the hobby if you set goals that are realistic for you to achieve. And you can always move the goals up as you proceed and progress. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at 35-cent variants, which all of them are hard to find compared to other stuff. And then you got a Star Wars one that's super expensive. And then you got other ones, there's only a couple. They're in test markets. They're not easy to find. And when they do pop up, if they're in a selling venue, they're going to be super expensive. So unless you just get lucky and run across one in the wild, I mean, you don't need to expend energy on something that's an unrealistic goal. So I give you props, Metarog, because I know that's one of those sets that you had the most love for completing for a long time. So I'm sure that was a really tough one.
Yeah, it was in a sense, but
and Broke because of comics just wants to know, if you see one, are you going to pick one up?
Yeah, I do. I have picked them up because there's still a lot of people don't realize it, because unlike the 30-cent variants, the price box doesn't have the more startling change. It looks just like a regular one, except instead of 30, it's 35. The font is different, but unless you have experience with it, you wouldn't be able to distinguish the font from the regular 30-cent. But yeah, I have found several still for $1 or $2. I found some in the convention I went to here locally a couple months ago. So yeah, they're out there, and I will find them and I will buy them if they're cheap. But I'm not chasing a set. No way, no how. I do know 2 people who do have the set. And one of them, it took them over 10 years.
Wow.
So, and that's with a lot of help. I helped them with a few, and a lot of other people have. You can't do it alone. There's just no way. You can't be in all places at all times unless you have a lot of money, and you just, as soon as it comes up on eBay, I'm going to buy it now. You hit it, but that will set you back thousands every week if you do that.
Yeah, and I'll let me answer Broke because of comic question. He says, how can you tell the difference? There is a surefire way to be 100% sure that you know the difference, and that is go back and watch Roger's video on it, and you will know every detail you need to know about them. And if you take some notes and you go out hunting, you will never go wrong. But other than like some of them are in the Starburst and some of them are just like the Star Wars one, I'm still waiting to find somebody mislisting a 35-center as just a Star Wars, and I'm going to pounce on it when I see it because it looks the same.
Yeah,
but
essentially the shorthand version of how you can tell the 30-cent variants, everything from April through August, 1976, if it's 30 cents instead of 25, the exception being Khazar 15 and Inhumans 5. Except for those two, they were all those were 30 cents. If you find an issue that's April to August 1976, Marvel, 30 cents, that's a variant. Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's and Roger, you can let me know where I'm going wrong here, but there's, I have a little bit of knowledge on it for hunting or seeing stuff, but I think ones that possibly could fly under the radar because they're overshadowed by the character and the title is the Spider-Man's like 169, 170, 171. I think those are the three that have a price variant. Not a lot of people know that, and they're just Spider-Man issues to a lot of people, but they have price variants for those late 160s.
Yes, 169, 170, 171, 172. So there's 5 of them. So 169, 170, 170, 172, 173. I'm sorry, 167 through 170, because 167 is the May issue, I do believe. So it's May through October for the 35-cent variants. Okay. May through October, and this is a hard and fast rule. If it's May through October 1977, okay, May through October 1977, and it's 35 cents, that is a variant, 100% every time. That's why this one here, October, is a variant. Normally it would be 30 cents, but when it's October 1977, Marvel's May through October variant.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb to remember if you're out there hunting. But yeah, I think those Spider-Mans, I have yet to find one, but I don't know. I think they might fly under the radar. It's just my opinion based on.
You guys are gonna have people checking through their collections.
Yeah,
because everybody
listen. If you live in North Carolina, or if you live in Michigan, or if you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, if you live in those 3 places, check your comics, because those are 3 of the test sites that had a wide swath of them. Okay, and not every variant was available in every test city, but my experience in those 3, you find the most titles that have 35-cent variants. Again, I've covered all this in my videos ad nauseum. So this is just a thumbnail.
I think if you came, up with a short and simple video with, visual representations like in almost a PowerPoint chart style, and I think if you came up with that video and kept it 5 minutes or under with this is how you spot them, this is how you spot it, this, I bet that would probably be your most watched video, because people search for that kind of stuff, how to find that.
Yeah, you got to make people earn that. You have to be able to be dedicated. Seriously, though, you have to go do the research. You have to sit through the video. You have to listen to what he's saying, and you have to take notes, and you got to put in the time. There's no shortcuts to success, bub. You got to put in the time, and you got to earn that knowledge. You ain't 5-minute shortcut to 35-cent variants. No, dude, I'm not.
I can't do that in 5 minutes. I get into the variant cities. I get into the titles. I get into the differences, the fonts. It's there's a lot that goes into being a variant collector, and if you want to find things on the cheap, you have to have intense knowledge of what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like a lecture series. Like we have Amazon Prime, and I've subscribed to their lecture series on science topics or whatever. It's very dry, but it's very informative and it's very engaging. And it's like when you do those, Roger, it's like a lecture series. It's not, that's not for a shortcut video for flippers. That's for somebody who really wants to gain the knowledge and do like a lecture series. So no, I'm down with it for that stuff. That's good. You want a 5-minute fluff video? There's plenty of other channels.
I couldn't do a 5-minute video if you tortured me. That's not in my DNA. It has to be at least 9 or 10. That's just the intro is 5.
Fair enough. I just saying. I think that's something that people. You're right. They don't deserve it. You don't deserve it, YouTube.
I didn't say that.
You don't want everybody knowing everything, because then there's way too much competition. So if you're willing to sit through Roger's video and take notes and learn that, most people aren't going to go to those lengths. It gives you an advantage. So
yeah, my videos rarely get over 100 some views anyway, so that's not a lot of competition. You know what I mean?
Well, I would say put CGC unboxing in one of your titles, and you get a lot of views.
Yeah, right.
Just put CGC unboxing, 35-cent variants. You'll get 1,000 views, and you don't even have to have a CGC unboxing.
I'll loan you a box from CGC that you can take your raw books out of.
Oh man! Listen, I sent a list to CGC years ago about the variants, about what to look for and so forth, and they still mislabeled them. I mean, I sent them the whole, Bub, you would be proud of me. I sent them the whole little presentation and the whole bit to tell them, hey, everything, even the issue numbers, the titles, the where the even like how they have the distribution marks up here and what that means. I said everything, all that, and they still messed it up.
Yeah, they don't delineate enough variant differences with comics that they slab, and their notes are informative usually about a book, but their notes only give you about 50% of what you need to know details about any given book. I mean, I've got books that they don't list the artist and it's a known cover artist, and where they have stuff mislisted. There's first appearances they don't even have on their labels. Like Blood Axe's first appearance is like Thor 449 or something. That's not on their label. They don't list newsstand variants when it's relevant, which would be like 85 to 90. That becomes a pretty relevant newsstand variant. CBCS recognizes it. They miss a lot of like price stuff, story stuff. But what I've done over time is I'll contact them and I get a response. It's not always a positive one, but I've had them change the label notes on a few things. They didn't have the first published Todd McFarlane cover ever. They didn't have a note for that anywhere. So I went out and found out what book it was, and I bought a couple, and I contacted them, and I'm like, hey, first published Todd McFarlane cover. That's a massive keynote. Let's get that on this label. And like, yeah, you're right. We researched it. You're right. It is that book. So then I sent them both in, and they got those with the keynotes. So that's not the end all be all of what's in these books. They miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's cool in a sense, because it's cool that we as collectors, as aficionados, as passionate lovers and like, I like the fact of the matter is that I like that we have that knowledge, that they have it as a business but we have it as a collector, as on our perspective. And those little nuances, like Mark Jeweler inserts or pizzazz inserts or tattoos, they didn't start denoting that until years ago on the CGC boards. We said, hey, this is in a comic. You have to say that this is different from most other issues like that. And if we beat that drum hard enough, generally they will listen.
I don't know if they even note tattoos insert on all of them. I know they do on the ASM 238, but I don't know if they do on the rest. Although nobody's sending that FF book in to get graded anyway. So
I love that book. That's a classic burn cover too, to me.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite Fantastic Four books.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, 238 obviously, because of the first Hobgoblin, is the one that everybody, and that's the key collector mentality, right? That those that have those first appearances or those and more valuable are the ones that are going to get graded, because those are the ones that are worth it. So
what else they should do is with the Marvel value stamps, they should put on the label for each book that has an MVS that it has the MVS and what MVS it is, because each one has a different character on it. They should put that on the labels. That's a nice piece of knowledge, and it's such an obvious thing. Like, you don't only have to put MVS missing on your Hulk 181s. They should put MVS.
Red Sonja MVS included.
Yeah, Red Sonja MVS included in this book, or what? No, that's an important thing. And the MVS market, there's people that collect all the books that have the MVS. There's people that collect the MVS booklet, completed or blank. And
Silver Age Dave.
It makes sense they should look at which one.
That's a set right there, the MVS.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here Pope Cerebus is posting a question. Polybag comics, can you open them? Should you be able to open them?
Now that's off topic. So that's why I'm here. You guys.
Oh man.
Well, I'll tell you, if you send them to CGC, you have to open the polybags, or they open them for you. And for people who are newer to the hobby, keeping a book in a polybag does not increase its value. It actually hurts the value, because you can't maintain its condition as well if it's in the bag. So I would recommend anybody who has polybag stuff to remove it from the polybag.
And those polybags are very low grade, and they're covered in acid. And
they're the cheapest possible plastic you can think of.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do keep a I do keep a sample polybag set around, because every once in a while I will get asked a question about it and I can go and reference it. So I do have one, but you're right. I mean, it's not good for the comic. It's the in fact, some of them yellow so bad that it's almost like a shimmering effect from when you look through that bag. It's just so bad. But I do keep it around.
I only have one in my collection that I kept, and it's because it has art on it. And that isn't usually the case. Let's see if I can pull it out real quick.
Is that one like the Marvel Whitman that had the little banner art, like Spider-Man, or?
In this case, it was Batman Adventures number. See, I don't even remember what number. I think it's 8 or so. And it has it's polybag with Man Bat on it. Yeah. And that is not a cover that they put on anything else. So you could only get this image from the polybag. So, and Man Bat's not even in the comic. It's a Killer Croc comic. So it's totally confusing.
That's a killer comic for sure.
I keep polybagged. Everything else I have taken out and put in a regular bag and board.
That's still it looks like a higher quality polybag than they used in the 70s, which was like it was so thin. I mean, literally, if you poked your fingernail in it a certain way, it would just rip it right in half.
You know what would be cool though would be to find, I think these were in polybags, was the Uncle Scrooge 179.
Yeah.
Like
those only came in Whitman 3-packs.
Yeah, and it would be that's one of the only ones that I would like to find an unopened 3-pack with that in it, because the book is super. It's like the rarest Bronze Age book there is.
Very rare.
Yeah, there weren't any of those packs that were put out or survived or whatever, but to find an unopened pack of that would be awesome.
That would be really cool.
I don't even know if there's any out there that even exists still.
There is one. Yeah, there is one that I know exists. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like everything has an exception. You know, there's always an exception to the rule. So even if you don't like polybags, that's a good exception right there. I've always said I don't like pedigrees because I always feel like my collection is the most important collection it's ever been in. I'm serious. Like,
well, let me ask you guys' opinion on pedigree question.
I'm like, I don't want a book with somebody else's collection name on it. It's my collection. That's all I care about. But one book that I wouldn't mind a pedigree of would be like a Ghost Rider book from the Nicolas Cage collection. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be a super specific where the book subject matter matches the pedigree perfectly. Then I'll be down for that.
I don't think that's a pedigree though. I don't think Nicholas. It's a collection. It's not a pedigree.
I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah, let me ask you.
There is a difference. That's
better match the book.
Okay.
I've got this, which is
let me put you on big boy screen there.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Blue Ribbon Comics number 13 from 1941. All right. So there's 7 on the CGC census, and the highest graded one is a 6.0. This I am almost positive will be higher than a 6.0 if I crack it out and clean it and press it. Mostly anyway, because it needs that, but it's 7.5 condition probably, but it's got half of the centerfold detached, so it's detached from one staple on the centerfold, and CBCS is pretty rough on detachments like that, whereas CGC is not. This will be the highest grade on the census. However, this is from the Detroit Trolley collection, so it's not a pedigree, but it's a collection, and it would qualify for the black label if I send it in for crossover grading.
Yeah.
If I just crack it out and do that, I lose the collection verification on it. So I don't know. I'd rather have the highest graded copy and then having a Detroit Trolley collection noted on the CBCS label. So I don't know. I'd be curious what people think I should do with this book. It's already, high grade anyway, but.
Well, do they accept crossover collections?
Well, I don't know. I haven't asked, but let's assume that they do.
That to me is a big assumption because, I mean, they don't accept other people's signature witnessing. So I would not – I would think the question is moot unless they 100% you hear from them, and I would get it in writing that they will honor the collection on that book.
Well, then the question is if they wouldn't honor it, maybe I should just keep it in this. But is it that important to keep the note that it's a Detroit Trolley collection book and keep it in a CBCS, or crack it out and clean it up a little bit? I mean, this thing has no spine take. This thing's like a 7.5, and So yeah, so I don't know what
Are there any identifying marks like a signature or a date or markings, anything like that?
There's a Z up here on pencil, and I don't know if that is. I don't know anything about the Detroit Trolley collection. I didn't even buy this because of that, so I don't even really care. Right. I don't know anything about it, but
well, there's your answer right there.
That might tell that it's a.
That might be it. Yeah. So I'd research that because I know the Lamont Larson collection has the his name on there, and the Ben Riley collection also, not Ben Riley, whatever that is, Riley something, has
Scarlet Spider.
No, the pedigree has an identifying mark. So that might be good enough.
Well, Pope's saying yes, absolutely keep the designation, but he might not like what I'm planning on doing is cracking this open, and it doesn't need much cleaning, but I'm going to erase that pencil mark.
Oh, well, if that's the case, forget it.
And to be clear, I like the provenance. I like, I have 2 books that I got, and this is a personal provenance, but I have 2 books that I got from Alex the Comic Hoarder. Mm-hmm. That means something to me. He's a friend in the community, and to get 2 books from him, I got my Giant Size X-Men #1 and my Marvel Spotlight #5. Mm-hmm. So, but do I want CGC to put on the label from the Alex the Comic Hoarder collection?
EGS will do that for you, probably.
Who?
EGS.
I mean, I can get a slab it yourself kit at home and some 3 pieces of security tape.
Yeah, but he'll do custom labels. Yeah, I mean, he'll do custom labels, and if you verify that you signed something, they'll put signed by you on it. I mean, they'll do that stuff if anybody wants to.
That's good. I might as well just put a Post-it note on the back of it before I'd use that. But
you would have the only book in existence that has a label note that says from the Alex the Comic Hoarder YouTube collection.
I can ban you from the chat, right? If you tell me to send my my slabs TGC Giant Size X-Men #1 to whatever EBS or whatever the hell he is.
ECG,
Alex the Comic Hoarder on there.
Electrocardiogram.
You're gonna get crossover service and have him crack it out and get labeled with the Alex the Comic Hoarder collection note, and you can get you can pick the color of your label. You can pick a sweet ass label for that. That'd be awesome, dude. Dude, you have a GSX with like a black label, and it would be a collection pedigree note on it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what you should do, Bub. You get a pause picture of Alex the Comic Hoarder, right?
Holding the same book.
Send it over to ECG or EGX or whatever it is.
I think it's EKG because I'd have a heart attack when I said
attack if you did that, right? And then you'll have a label with Alex up there, and Alex will be forever encapsulated in there with that book.
Yeah, I'll do you one better, Roger. Crack it out yourself, Bub, and send it to Alex for a sketch and a signature. Then you will have with a verified sketch and signature by Alex.
Oh my.
Man, you have the only one in existence, and nobody would ever get close.
Oh boy,
that's nice. Who plays the guitar? I might have to just serenade the book on camera. And get a picture of that. It'd be nice.
This is okay. Everybody in the chat, this is a new trend. Like you have to get it on the bottom floor now. Okay. Because if you got a YouTube collector, okay, that you bought a book from, this is what you got to do, okay? You got to get a sketch or a remark or some kind of verification mark from that collection so that when it's slabbed in posterity sometime in the future, that will have a provenance behind it.
Yeah, I'm going to offer that in my next auction. I'm going to offer if they want to add an extra $10. I will crack it out.
The DS.
I'll do a sketch on it and I'll sign it, and you can be get it verified signature and a sketch by me.
Yours should be a pair.
Don't even offer it. Just go ahead and include it as a secret variant. Just every time somebody buys a book from you, they're going to crack open and right in between the staples on the centerfold is going to say "Big DS, baby." And like, what is that?
And your logo should be a pair of pants. Make the D out of the,
Dude, that's awesome.
Make the S, from the belt, and there you go.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'll make like an
you,
extra belt buckle on the pants, and I'll sign DS Comics in the belt buckle.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I'll offer
There you
variants for characters. Like I'll do a Superman in pants with that belt buckle.
The ideas are just rolling.
Batman in pants. I'll do like a Thor wearing my pants with the belt buckle.
Yeah, you see, they're different levels, right? I mean, there's the gold pants, there's the silver, the bronze pants. Different levels.
You guys are killing me. Clearly, we've devolved.
Are you kidding me? I see DS taking notes back there.
I am.
Yeah. There you go. OBS or whatever that grading company is going to be all over this. All right.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for another great chat. Thank you, everyone who's been in the chat. If we miss you, I know you're. We got Scoons Comics and Broke Cousin Comics, Immortal Biggie Shack, Knights of Old, Boy Who Had Seven, Super Russ, and a bunch of others. Metarog, of course, Comic Books NYC, and Gretzky, of course, still hanging out. Thank you, guys. Now, Chris, One Legged Books was in here. Thank you, Justice for Comics, Silver Age, Dave popped in. You guys are heroes from heroes to icons. You guys just Mastodon Comics. The list goes on and on. You guys are just absolutely awesome. Thank you all so much for being a part of this chat tonight. Big fun. Sorry we missed last week. Everyone's feeling better, and back from the ER. So thank you everybody for your well wishes. Makes all the difference. And just want to say, if anybody wants to say goodbye, you got something coming up on your channel. Metarog, what do you got going on?
Yeah, no, not much. The usual stuff. Tomorrow I'll have a little video coming out with some pickups and a win from R Wheatley 0206 and some Marvel wallet cards that I found in my collection, which I thought were kind of interesting. Then, of course, I am going to have a roundup on Thursday. I didn't last week for Thanksgiving, but there's a lot of new contests, so make sure to check out the roundup on Thursday.
All right, appreciate that. And DS, you got anything coming up on your channel?
No, but I'll be on Golden Guys tomorrow night on Comic Core channel, and that's always fun. I missed it last week, and they had a really good show. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything special coming up. Did a video today showing my next CGC submission, so I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 boxes at CGC. So I'll be doing a series of unboxings as those come back, probably around Christmas time or so. But that's it.
Cool. I like that. I don't have a whole lot going on my channel other than my usual haul videos. I got about 5 haul videos in the can. I'm going to try and get them all out before the first of the year, just in case. So I'm going to get all that done. And then hopefully this weekend, I'll be posting. I'm going to be doing a crack, the old CPR, right? So I'm going to crack open my House of Secrets 92 2.5 from CBCS signed by Wrightson. I'm going to crack that out, clean it, press it. It's got a lot of pressable defects. I don't know how much the grade will improve. I'm hoping for a 3.5 because the back cover has a lot of soiling and dirt that I feel like can be clean. You see that, DS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you love seeing that? I think I should be able to get most of that cleaned off. Yeah. So, and then I'm going to send it into CGC for a green label and just keep the red label as a kind of like a COA, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
So I'm going to be doing a video on that. I'll probably drop that on Saturday or so. They tend to be long, so they need a lot of editing. So that's it. That's what I got going on. So, Roger, you want to say your goodbyes?
Yeah, man. Great chat tonight. I had a lot of fun. This is a great topic. Thanks to Will and Hialeah Comic Bro. If you guys see it on the replay for the suggestion. I love this kind of topic because we could go on for hours on this, but everybody, thanks for sticking in there with us. We know that without you guys are the all-star chat, the best chat in all the live streams by far, at least in my opinion. So everybody be blessed and be back next week.
Thank you, Roger. And you go ahead, DS.
Yeah, everybody do your homework and awesome chat. Thanks to everybody who continues to show up every week. It's really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so that's it. We'll see you next week.
All right, appreciate it. And remember, this is BUB'S Comics telling you thank you for joining us on the No Faces Comic Chat. We'll catch you next week. Go out and read a comic, and remember, don't apologize for the glare. Catch you later.